Yeah, no, that's how they.
Okay, my first question is this your family? Tell me if this looks like your family.
Everything that's wonderful is what I feel when a lucky rainbows disappears near and I feel so fine. Just
That looked like me going down the road.
everybody's sunshine. Rainbows, everything that's wonderful is sure to come your way. When you're in love to stay. Sunshine, lollipops, and rainbows, everything that's wonderful is what I feel when we're together. Brighter than a lucky penny. Rainbows disappear and
That last part was
Okay, so does anybody know what a family council is? Have you ever heard of that before?
I've heard of it, but I've never been told what it is.
Family happy hour.
Family happy hour. Okay.
And counsels families.
Oh, okay. So there are people that come in and counsel you? Okay. All right.
I think it's when parents sit down with their kids and have a meeting and kind of talk about what the week's gonna be or the month calendar or,
Yeah.
is that close?
Yeah. Pretty good. That's pretty right on top of it. So the interesting thing is that the family councils are the most important council in the church. And so it has to be important to us because if the church says that it's important, then obviously there's something to it, right? So this is a picture of a room of the first presidency and the 12 apostles. It's their council room. And it's right in Salt Lake, and it's right in the Salt Lake Temple. The interesting thing about this particular room that I love is the fact that these guys, they meet every Thursday. And they have a council there. But the interesting thing to me is that before they even meet, they have an agenda, and this agenda is actually sent to all the apostles, whoever's coming, and they are to pray and fast about it. So when they get to this place on Thursday morning, then they're set spiritually, and they can, talk about the church issues that they have. So the importance of having a family council, Elder Bednar said this. Whenever there are two or more members of a family together and a discussion is going on, that is a council. Family councils can be held in one or more talks between a parent, a child, or among parents and several children. When a husband and wife talk, that's a council too. A council is also when parents allow their children to help solve problems. And when everyone agrees on a solution, everyone will have ownership in this problem. So that to me tells us the importance of why we should have a family council, because that is what everybody will have their own ownership in it. So that will help them to be able to problem solve, and it's not dad or mom's problem, it's everybody's problem, and so they can put their input in. So why have a family council? Well, to train principles such as temple preparation. So why do you think we would teach children to temple preparation?
Yes, so they can go in the temple someday.
Yes, that's true. Anybody else? Well, that's pretty much it. That we teach our kids to be prepared for the temple, and so they have to know all those different little things that they need to do in order to get there. How about home management? Does anybody know what home management might mean?
Like budgeting and meal planning and
Yeah,
stuff like that.
cleaning the house, all those kind of things. Well, that we can also teach our families to have family finances. We can also talk about to them about their leisure time, because that sometimes poses a problem. And like Dana said, we could talk about calendars. So I put this picture in here because I was thinking it's a husband and wife, but we know that there are many different types of families in the world today. There could be single parents or grandparents who are raising the children. So the important thing that I feel is that when these parents meet together, they need to be able to put down, just like the first presidency did, and they need to have an agenda. And on that agenda, they need to pass it on to the children way beforehand, so that those kids and people who are involved in the council can pray about them and maybe even fast or add their 2 cents to the agenda too. So you see how the first presidency has showed us how to have a council, so we need to follow that as well.
Yeah, because if you're warned beforehand what the subject will be, you'll have already put some thought into it before you get there.
Yeah, that's right, and you'll be spiritually prepared. We won't be arguing about it. So this is interesting. There is a study that was done, and they had 232 participants, which is a pretty big study. There was 173 females and 58 males. This study was about adolescents who were merging into adulthood. And they found that some of those kids were able to communicate really well. And they found that because their parents taught them how to communicate. And so because they did this, those particular people tended to have lasting relationships. They were independent. They didn't need to have, people guiding them around. And they were able to communicate their feelings. And so that's really important in a relationship. And they were also able to solve conflicts in their life. But unfortunately, for those people who weren't raised with good communication skills, they were quite the opposite. In fact, most of them, not most of them, but quite a few of them, relationships just dissolved. So you see why it would be important that we have family councils, because what better place would it be to teach our children how to counsel, how to communicate in these councils and with other people. I want you to watch this little video.
The back windows of our home overlook a small flower garden and the woods which border Little Cottonwood Creek. Every year, this ivy has been the nesting place for house finches. The nests in the vines are safe from the foxes and raccoons and cats that are about at night. Then one day, there was a great commotion in the ivy. Not in 50 years that we have lived at home have we seen anything like that before. We will not always be safe from the adversary's influence, even within our own home.
Oh, snake.
We need to protect our nestlings.
Well, I agree with Elder Packard. When he says that what better place than to teach our children, but within the walls of our own home. And it's so important that we take the time to have family council so that we can lead our children back to our Heavenly Father. Thank you.
Excellent, excellent.